How's it going, everyone? J-Star here, and welcome back to another Pokémon Horizons episode review. In case you missed last week's episode, make sure you check it out. You can see the thumbnail picture here on the screen because the events of last week's episode link directly into this week's episode. So make sure you check that out. So with that being said, let's jump into today's episode review. So this week's episode opened up with a sort of little flashback. We got to see Liko's grandmother talking about the pendant. I say it's a flashback because, well, her grandmother still has the pendant and not Liko. Though we don't get to see Liko, but I'm guessing she is quite a bit younger than she is now. We then have a little recap of what happened to Sprigatito in the last week's episode. Remember, it fell off the ship, and the explorers captured Sprigatito and flew off somewhere, making Liko very, very sad. We also heard the newest opening for this anime for the first time in this week's episode. I don't know what to think of it. I'm not too much a fan of it. It reminded me, the art style reminded me a lot of Journeys. The song, though, I'm not a fan of it, although it is the first time hearing it, so I probably need to hear it a couple more times to get properly into it. But that's my opinion on the opening. Once Liko wakes up, she then heads outside onto the airship and finds out that Professor Friday and the others, being Murdoch, Oreo and Molly, they were all hired by Liko's mother to protect her. We also find out that the airship is following the explorers to a town. Once we get to the town, the group then split off to find the explorers. However, Liko's job is to buy some potions from a Pokemon Center, where we get to see Nurse Joy. We then cut to Sprigatito, who has been captured by the explorers, and it seems really, really happy. I don't even think it knows that it's been captured, because it's eating all this food, it's getting lots of love from one of the explorers, and I think it's having the time of its life. However, this one explorer feels pity on Sprigatito and decides to go out and buy some more food. However, Murdoch's Rockruff tracks her down, meaning Liko and Professor Friday arrive at the explorer's base. They then head inside one of the big warehouses and they find a Methio. Friday decides to battle a Methio, with of course Methio using Ceruledge and Professor Friday using Captain Pikachu. As Liko will probably just get in the way, she then decides with Rockruff to go and find Sprigatito, and she does. However, during all this, obviously the battle between Professor Friday and Methio is going on, and there was some really, really good animated moves. One move in particular, which you can see bits of screenshots on the screen now. Very, very good animated move. Liko then finds Sprigatito, rescues it, and escapes from the base. We also find out then that Professor Friday has been stalling time while Liko finds it, so then he escapes as well. Back on the airship, we can see that some time has passed, and Liko decides that she can trust Professor Friday and the rest of the group, and decides she wants to travel around with them as they are her bodyguards now. We then also find out that Professor Friday's little group, so Professor Friday, Murdoch, Oreo, Molly, and this older gentleman, we don't know who it is yet, have a secret nickname, and they are known as the Rising Vault Tacklers. We then find out also that they are setting sail for Liko's house in the Pallada region. And then towards the end of the episode, we get to see a new character. We get to see Roy, who's really excited. He runs out of his house, really excited that there's been a storm overnight and there might be some interesting things on the beach. He heads down to the beach and he finds the airship's flag. And that is where the episode ended. So there we go, that is the third episode for Pokémon Horizons finished. What did you guys think of this episode? I enjoyed it, but I feel like the other two episodes were a little bit better. Liko staying with the Rising Vault Tacklers. If she stays with them for a long period of time, it means she's going to miss quite a bit of school. I mean, in the Pokemon world, school doesn't really matter in my opinion because they're getting that much experience being out in the world, being Pokemon trainers as it is anyway. But it will be exciting to see which type of adventures they're going to get up to. Obviously, they're all there to find the mysterious about this pendant, so I am excited to see more about that. Obviously, we saw last week also the brand new Pokemon introduced. We still don't know its name yet, but Liko travelling with the Rising Vault Tacklers, meaning they'll go on a lot more adventures. We'll find more out about this pendant. And also right at the end then we got the introduction of Roy. He's going to be one of the new main characters. You've got Liko and then you've got Roy. And I feel like we just need to see a little bit more of him so far. I mean, literally saw him running out of his house down to the beach and he found a flag and that was it. Hopefully there's going to be more in next week's episode. But I think the rating I'm going to give this week's episode is an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but I feel like the last two episodes were a bit better. I feel like in this episode lots of stuff happened, but also nothing really important happened other than them getting Sprigatito back and then seeing Roy at the end. But yeah, 8 out of 10, that's what I'm going to give it. So I think that's where I'm going to end this episode off. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Let us know that you want me to continue this Pokémon Horizons episode reviews. Comment down below in the comment section what did you think of today's episode. And finally, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week with the next one.